Assalamu alaikum, family. You're tuned into the Sajdah channel. I want to talk to you this morning and ask you a question. Why are you afraid? Let's unravel that today and figure out where some of our hidden fears are originating from and where those blind spots are that are holding us back. All right. So I'll be back in a few minutes. Be a friend and tell a friend, and we'll see you on the other side.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judgest, and none can judge against Thee. And he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserved to be served besides Thee. And I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
I have told you the first part of my life, I was a farmer in Georgia.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Nobody there was looking at me flying and you thought that I would ever be a scientist teaching the world.
Yes, sir.
See, it is time that brings all that.
Assalamu alaikum, family. Peace be unto you. Welcome to the Sajdah channel. How's everybody doing this morning? I got my coffee, got me some rest. I'm up and ready to go. Hope you all are feeling fabulous as well. What am I drinking today? Just some homemade decaf. It's egg coffee that I made this morning with a little, I've been practicing making my own creamer. So this is an almond creamer that I made myself. So I'm on this mission to reduce the number of chemicals that I access to my body. So I've been practicing making my own creamer, and I think I'm getting it down. And the idea is to figure out how many almonds versus how much water to add. And it actually works better with the egg coffee than the regular coffee. So, just playing. So I had time to play around and experiment with that a little bit this morning as well. I think I mentioned to you all that I went this past week tracing the early footsteps of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And one of those stops was at Emory University, where they have a very interesting collection of basically their KPMX radio broadcasts when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad would go to Phoenix and broadcast and do the radio broadcast, not the radio broadcast from Chicago. So what I mean is that he's broadcasting in the house in Phoenix on Violet Drive. And so they have a series, and they're like 30 minutes each. They're definitely not as in depth as the Theology of Time or the Table Talks, because they're somewhat geared for a certain audience, but it's interesting nonetheless. And one of the things that came to my mind as I was listening to one in particular was fear. And why are we afraid? And then I thought about how so many of us as entrepreneurs that I meet, where you feel like you're doing stuff, but it's just something that's holding you back. There's something that's standing in your way. You feel like you want to do more, but you just can't. You want to do more, but you're tired. You want to do more, but you don't feel good. You want to do more, but you don't have the money. You want to do more, but something is holding you back. You're hitting a blind spot that you just can't figure out how to get over. And then that blind spot may prevent you from selecting the right coach or the right consultant to get you through that process as well. And so that was really, really on my mind. And interestingly enough, when I sat down, let me tell y'all what day that lecture. One of the talks on true religion is what they've entitled it. December 25th, 1966. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad made a very interesting quote that I'm not going to put up yet, because if I put the quote up, it's going to take you somewhere else, or you'll get there, but you'll go on a different journey that I want to take you on. Okay, so come on this journey with me. When we are born into the world, there are a set of laws that work in tandem like a song together to create us, right? It allows the sperm to meet the egg. It allows the embryo to form. And the whole process is based on a law. The whole process of us sitting in buildings and these couches and pillows sitting firmly on the ground is because of the law of gravity. And it's a law that we've come to rely on. And so there are so many things that we're real clear about the law. And so we just operate and adjust in conjunction with that law. Real simple is gravity, right? We know that if we drive over the edge of a road that we're going to fall down. We know that if we walk too far off the edge of a building that we're going to fall over. We know that if we set this couch right here on the floor, that's just going to sit here because we have faith in the reality of the law of gravity. And the law of gravity is the will of God. Why do we say that? Because when the Creator was creating the universe, there was a desire or a will to put a certain law in place. And so that makes these laws we're talking about the will of God. I could go deeper in that, but we're going to stay on this side of it. There are a lot of spiritual people out here nowadays who are teaching people that they can do whatever they want, that there's no, well, let me say it this way. What they're doing is they're rejecting the colonizers' construct of church and religion. And they're rejecting the predatory and control aspects of religion. And so their representation of spirituality, of spirit, of universe, however they decide to name it, is based on unplugging from that, kind of fear-mongering type of matrix and diving into law of attraction, the law of cause and effect, that kind of stuff. All of which is really good. Much of which is really good. But what happens to us is that because many of us don't understand the totality of God or the totality or holistic nature of God. And I'm going to take back that word understand, because we can't even really touch the concept of understanding when it comes to God, but accepting is a better word. Accepting the holistic and totality of God, meaning that he is in everything and everywhere. And sometimes that becomes hard because we're being taught. Again, many of us have been nursed on a colonizer's version of Christianity, and even in some cases, Islam, where it's designed to control you, to make you obey, make you submit and adhere to certain cultural norms and things like that. And not the concept that I came to make all things new. Okay. And we're all in our growth and development. That is real, but we just have to understand sometimes what we're listening to and looking at when we're watching things. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad made a statement that answered my question about fear. Like, why are we so afraid? Why do we have these subconscious vibrations of fear that hold us back, that constrict us? Well, yes, it's because of how we've been nurtured and nursed. Again, this colonizer's version of God. A lot of us went to Sunday school and Catholic schools and all of these different things. And some of us grew up in certain aspects of Islam that was designed to indoctrinate us into a particular culture and not allow us per se or encourage us or support us in accepting our own and being ourselves, which is one of the biggest tenets of the Nation of Islam given to us by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Accept your own and be yourself. Because we believe that we're bringing in a new universe. We're activating a new world, and in that new world and in that new universe, there are new people with new thoughts that look differently, that act differently, that conduct themselves in a way that is unplugged from the matrix that we talked about yesterday. All right. Talk to me in the chat if you all understand where I'm going with this. Now, these fears that we have, that we don't understand, that we struggle with, have to first be recognized as a subconscious fear, because we are taught that we are made in the image and likeness of God. Our nature is righteousness. Okay. Our nature is in submission to the will of God, right? We come into this world submitting to a will, to a set of laws. We come in submitting to that. And any deviation from that is a problem. We're going to get to that. That's our nature. And so even if we are a perfect student of whatever the boxes we're supposed to be checked in order to access the world that we desire, could be the corporate world, it could be a world and an ideal lifestyle that your church or your religion gives you, but they will give you certain things that you need to do. You need to dress this way. You need to look this way. You need to do all these things, check all these boxes, and it's going to get you somewhere. But somewhere deep down inside of you, you're like, something's off. Your subconscious knows it, but you're too cowardly to challenge the powers that be to say, hey, why do we do this? What is this? Too cowardly to even studying it. Because a lot of times you may study and find out, oh, okay, I'm wrong about this. I do need to make sure I'm doing this. But why? Why do we have that blind spot? What is that thing that's saying to us, it's a violation somewhere. It's a deviation from the law somewhere in there or in the past that you're holding on to, that is creating that blind spot and preventing you from moving down that road more smoothly. Somewhere there's a small deviation in the law. And here's the thing, before I put this quote up here, let me say this. This universe that we live in, this world we live in, this world of God that we live in is a very mathematical and complex world. The beautiful thing about the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is that he gave us certain ways of being that would begin to lock us into a certain formula, and then begin to give us a foundation so we would know how to reason and how to think so that we can move to that next level. We haven't even gotten, many of us, to the reasoning phase of life because we're not doing the basics. Okay. I'm going to read something from some of the things that I found this week in those recordings that I think are really apropos for this conversation. But did you know that when we reject the will of God or we reject the law of God, we literally set off destruction by God? And then some of us are going like, wait, what? Yeah. If you decide to drive off that cliff and your car goes tumbling into the ocean, by violating that law, like stay on the road and respect the fact that gravity is going to make you fall if you don't, by violating that, destruction occurred. Your car and with you and your children in it may go tumbling down the cliff and into the ocean. And then some people may say, yeah, but that's not destruction by God, that's destruction by me. It's destruction as a result of the law of God that you violated. So when I was looking at those recordings, listening to those recordings from 1966, I saw this quote by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad: rejecting the will of God brings about the destruction by God. And immediately I thought about gravity, and gravity being a law that we're all familiar with, that when we violate it, we are exposing ourselves to that potential destruction. If we understood that concept with the rest of everything else that we do, we can get to that phase in life where now we can reason. Somebody can sit down and talk to us. See, part of the problem is that a lot of times you can't teach us nothing because we don't have the ability to reason. All we know how to do is retain information that somebody gives us. And if we reject that information for whatever reason, you can't speak to us. And there was also something in this recording. This one actually was a radio broadcast called "The Time and the Resurrection" from January 8, 1967. This was actually the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who at that time was substituting for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad on the radio. And he began with Proverbs: where there is no vision, the people perish. And he started to go into the benefits of wisdom and understanding. Okay. It lengthens our days. This is why it's so important to study the Word of God and follow, because he said that will lengthen our days. It will gain us access to riches, honor, and certain pleasantries of life. It'll give us access to the richness of life and happiness, peace. And he went on to go on, but he also said that we need reason in order to find wisdom and understanding. I'm going to say that again. I should have put this in the chat. We need reason in order to find wisdom and understanding. He said, God has not created anything better than reason. God's wrath is caused by reason. The ability to reason is that which differentiates man from beast. And he went on to quote the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who, in addressing many of the civil rights leaders in the 60s, said, come, let us reason together and do some sane, intelligent thinking. But then this part right here, this is what hit me like a brick. He said, false pride and prejudice blocks the power of reasoning. False pride and prejudice. That's why when somebody try to tell you something and you in your false pride, or you may be prejudiced against them, you may feel like they can't know because of how they look, how they act, what their color is. You don't recognize wisdom or truth no matter where it comes from. And you have this blind spot because of the false pride and the prejudice. It blocks your ability to reason. And remember, we need reason in order to find wisdom and understanding. I could feel some of you going, what is reason? What is reasoning? I'm going to give that to you. Reasoning is the action of thinking about something in a logical, sensible way. Okay? Thinking about something in a logical way. Thinking about something in a logical, sensible way. And what did the minister say about reason? He said, we need reason in order to find wisdom and understanding. So this is part of the problem. You have to have clear thinking about something in a logical and sensible way. So you got to even be able to think and say, this could possibly make sense in order to even get to the point where you can find wisdom and understanding. And then once you find wisdom and understanding, in order to absorb it, you cannot be prejudiced and have these blockages up about the person, place, thing, location, or whoever is giving you the information. He went into, he said, in order to gain spiritual sight and light, you have to learn how to reason with truth. Reason meaning think about it in a logical and sensible way. But if you cannot think logically and sensibly, then it would be difficult for you to reason with truth. What are some of the reasons why we can't think logically and sensibly? Oftentimes it's fear. We're so afraid because somebody told us this is how you think. They told us in church, they told us at the work, at job, they told us at school, they told us somewhere along our life that this is how we need to think. I want you thinking about this a certain particular way. And if you think about it any other way, you're going to be doomed. Somebody was acting in the place of God when they gave you that rule on how to think. So now here somebody else comes and says something to you, and you got false pride and prejudice, and you can't hear it. And remember, when we reject the will of God, it brings about destruction by God. If we reject the basic rules and laws, see, we're looking at this wrong. If the messenger says to us, eat one meal a day, stop trying to pretend why or prove why you don't have to eat one meal a day. And think about it like this. Eating so many times a day taxes your digestive system. It weakens the muscles of your stomach. It takes away, gives you brain fog. That's why, that the itis, you get the itis after you eat. Well, you're in a perpetual state of itis when you're constantly eating all the time. You're eating 3 meals a day. Your body's busy. You never give your body a time to go into that fasting space and fasting state, and process all that sugar, release its own insulin to balance you out. You're throwing your hormones off. You're sending yourself into either puberty or menopause quicker. So you're accelerating the timeline of your hormones. This is for men and women, because your body never gets to rest, and the place where your hormones are developing is always busy trying to digest food. Now, when you can begin to think through something in a logical and sensible manner, you now can access wisdom and understanding. Now we access the wisdom where he says, eat 1 meal a day, and we go, okay, I get it. So now as we're transitioning from eating 5 or 6 times a day to 1 time a day, we may start off saying, I got to have me a little bowl of fruit or a little bowl of oatmeal in the morning, whatever you decide to do, a muffin. And so you do that, but your big meal is 4 to 6 until you get to the point where you can basically be in that fasting state overnight throughout the day until 4 o'clock, accessing your human growth hormones, accessing your stem cells. You're going to find your skin is tighter. You're going to look younger. You give your kidneys time to recover and repair, so they get to drain all the lymphatic drainage from around your face, your eyes, your nose, in your throat. You're going to lose some of that mucus because now the lymphatics get a chance to move without the process of digesting food being in the way. Now you're going to think a lot more clearer because your brain doesn't have to focus on digesting. It's now focused on whatever else you decide to point it towards. You give your liver time to recover and to filter. The liver is the only organ that will repair itself, but it's not going to repair itself if we're constantly taxing it. It's like a machine. You just keep making it work over and over and over and over again. The inside of our colon, as if we let it rest, those muscles will begin to tighten back up. Those valves that are constantly moving the waste up and down and around that complicated colon get a chance to take a break. Take a little break, so that when you do sit something down there, it can properly absorb it. It can't even absorb the nutrients from the food that we're eating because it's too busy trying to get rid of the waste from the last food you ate. So this is reasoning and understanding. But if you got false pride and prejudice that blocks you from the power of reasoning, then you'll just miss it. That's why all the times that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and all of his wisdom was recorded and information stolen, they know the truth, but they don't want to put it out there in his name and allow people access to prejudice and reason, because they know that they've caused people to have an issue with how they see him. And I want to talk about that for a minute. They know that they've caused people to have a problem with how they see him, so they can't put it out there and say, hey, y'all, Elijah Muhammad said, eat one meal a day. I'm just using that as an example. He said unite, because they've already created this false pride, this prejudiceness against him, and it has blocked the power of reasoning. So even with themselves, when they put it back out, when they decide to steal it, they'll just say, according to this scientist, so-and-so, so-and-so. And the scientists didn't discover it. The scientists just researched what they probably stole or heard from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and then went through the necessary processes and steps to prove it. And now they put it out there in a book, and they tell you that they call it intermittent fasting. This is how you heal yourself. Let me say this. I think anybody that's interested in school and you are a Muslim, you could take one little sentence of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's teaching and write a thesis on it and get a PhD. We should all be doctors, and then you can put out there in the educational system your proof for what he's saying. Everybody should do that. That whole thesis on eating one meal a day should have been done by one of us. Then it wouldn't have to be renamed to intermittent fasting, developed by Dr. So-and-so, so-and-so. All right. So then he says, we gain spiritual sight and light by reasoning with truth. Where there is no understanding, and where there is no understanding, there is no vision. And where there is no vision, the people perish. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Where there is no reason, there is no understanding. And where there is no understanding, there is no vision. And where there is no vision, the people perish. Vision makes the people great. Vision is keen foresight, but we can't even get to vision because we can't get to reason, and we can't get to understanding because we're being blocked by our prejudices, and whatever else is blocking us. All right, let me see what y'all talking about here in the chat. Let's see here. I see you, Sister Betty. She says, happy Saturday to everyone. Happy Saturday, Mom. I see Sister Aurelia in the house. She says, Grand Rising. I'm enjoying my Kay's coffee. We know Kay's. Kay's is a friend of the show. She spent some time with us on the show, introduced us to her butter pecan decaf, which I do have some of it. And so you made yours with an egg coffee. Okay, good. Hopefully, one of the goals with the Sajdah House Kitchen is to be able to show people things like how to make egg coffee and how to make real bean soup, not just soupy beans. Assalamu alaikum from Regional Sky Girl, and she says, I pray that everyone is well. Wa alaikum salam, sis. Thank you for joining us. Brother Lamont is in the house. He says, Assalamu alaikum, morning, happy Saturday. Wa alaikum to you. Wa alaikum salam to you. We need wisdom to find wisdom and understanding. He said, love that. And Marvelous Marva's in the building. Wa alaikum salam, sis, to you and your family. Aya Solution says, great day. And assalamu alaikum, family, from Sister Monica. Wa alaikum salam, Sister Monica. Timestamp Army says they are tapping in from Buffalo, New York. Some of the nicest people I ever met was when I was on a project in Buffalo, New York. They get a lot of snow, though. It's snow every day up there. I couldn't take it. I mean, it's bad enough that we cold in Chicago, but that everyday snow in Buffalo was nothing to play with. Nothing at all to play with. Any questions about reasoning and our hidden underlying fears being born out of the blind spots that are created by the deviations from the law that we are being impacted by? And it's just because, in continuing from our conversation yesterday, we're not unplugged from the matrix. We're still living and acting a certain way and in accordance with a power that is desirous of controlling and preying upon us and taking away some of our rights and all of that kind of stuff. And so we don't have the ability to reason so that we can figure out what to unplug from and what not to unplug. Or by the time we decide to unplug, it's after we've gotten sick, after we got a disease, after something bad happens, then we unplug. But having that wisdom, understanding, and foresight, if you will, and having faith in a power higher than yourself, like this supreme wisdom that we try to give to our entrepreneurs here. This just came to me. Tying this into entrepreneurship, we are fastly approaching, we're already there now, but it's getting worse, where if we don't do for self, we are walking right into the prophecy, if you will, of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that wherein that we will suffer the consequences. Okay. And this is why I am dedicated to helping us as conscious entrepreneurs, because to me, doing for self is a law. And so we have to do for self. We have to employ some of our people who may not be leaders, who may not have the ability to do for self, but we are really fasting approaching a phase where there may not be a lot of places left for you to go and fill out an application and get a job. And if you get a job, there may not be that much work. Or when you get a job, you may have to also have a side hustle or a side business. We're at that point. Many of these companies we work for are simply just the grown up versions of somebody's side hustle 20 years ago. But now that timelines are accelerated, we can get these businesses started. We can become consultants. Let me tell you the beautiful thing about converting to Islam. It gives you a journey that is monetizable, because the things about yourself that you had to overcome in order to accept your own and be yourself becomes a tool and a business that you can go out and consult and teach and train other people on, or incorporate in your current existing policies, procedures, and human resources manual so you can help get your staff and your team there. So like I said, there's no reason why we shouldn't all be some type of consultant. We should have products and services that support and recognize what has put us in some of these elevated positions that we're in. We have to give back. We have to make sure that we understand we are in the resurrection business. And so, like the Muslims during the times of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, Islam was spread through commerce. And some of y'all going, oh Lord, this is all about converting you to Islam. Islam simply means one who submits to do the will of Allah. That's all it is. It's just saying you're submitting to a will, to a law. And you got to do that anyway, unless you're going to meet some level of destruction. We're just telling you what those laws are so that you know them up front and you don't have to play Russian roulette and figure it out. We use that food analogy all the time, but there are so many. And all, you know, there's things about diet. There's things about dress and attire. There's things about conduct. These things are aligning us with the will of Allah and allowing us to understand how to submit, because you got to know what to submit to in many cases so that you can figure out how to submit, especially since we've been taught this deviant way of thinking and deviant way of being. This thinking and way of being that says you can do whatever you want to do. You can just be naked and it doesn't matter. You can, and we may not all, and it's a double standard because if you think about things like unaliving people, that's the word I was searching for that word because I didn't want them to, they can't stand my channel anyway. So they're always demonetizing it, but thought I'd say it that way. Unaliving people when you're looking at a group of people who literally just slaughtered thousands of people. And then what we're taught is sweep that under the rug. That doesn't matter. Don't talk about that. Stop mentioning that. Stop saying that, as if that is not expanding and growing through certain circles and people in society here. It has to be holistic. As if we don't live the impact of that. As if reparations aren't due to us since we live in a business world because of the impact of what has been done to us. And even if you say, well, nope, a lot of bad stuff was done to a lot of people. Okay, how about this? We built this country and y'all didn't pay us. Forget what you did to us. Forget how many N-words you call us. Forget all of that. If you want to forget that because you feel like other groups were discriminated against, okay, I'm going to give you that. And obviously I'm biased, so I don't believe that anybody's ever been treated as badly as we have. And that includes us and our Native American people that y'all have named Native American, but the people who are indigenous to this part of the world, you put that together, it's bad, bro. So then you talking business. All right, well, we built this country. Y'all didn't pay us. So figure out what you owe us, adjust it for inflation, and then you're going to probably say, well, we ain't got the money. Y'all be printing up money all the time, but y'all going to probably follow your own economic laws and say, oh, but if we start printing up a bunch of money for this case, then we're going to drive up inflation. We're going to put too much money into the system. It's going to devalue the dollar. All right. Okay. You still owe us. You still got a debt. You still got to pay it. Tell us we ain't got to pay no taxes. If you're a Black person and you're a descendant of a slave, then you ain't got to pay no taxes. How about that? Let all the nonviolent drug offenders and the nonviolent criminals in many of these cases go through and evaluate these cases and let some of these people out of prison. And then let them work without having to pay any taxes. That'll give people a leg up. And guess what? You will see the U.S. economy turn around overnight. Do you realize that? See, right now, the world is, America's falling. The financial world is falling. The dollar is falling. And most of what you see happening strategically right now in the financial world is a way to cushion that fall, or to hedge against the fall. That's what most strategies are. Whether it's the creation of Bitcoin or whatever, it's all born out of the fact that the dollar's falling. Now, if your dollar's falling and you want any chance of turning it around, you have a whole group of people who you are blocking access to the world of business, to finances, to the quote unquote American dream. You have designed a system that collectively is blocking. You got some of us that pop out, but even those of us that pop out of the matrix, we could probably be even further if those blockages weren't there. So you got this whole population who you've cut off from participating in this financial game that you're playing. Well, guess what? If you let us in, it might cushion your fall a little bit. It might prevent it from falling. It might help. Not might, I'm sure it'll help. I did a whole analysis on this. I haven't presented it yet on how relieving Black people from taxes, federal income taxes, we could still pay state taxes to support the states, but relieving Black people from federal taxes, allowing us access into certain financial circles, supporting us in doing businesses and building up these wasted communities with economic development that we own and control. I put together a model that predicts how it will help and how it will impact the fall of the dollar. I'm not going to present it on here because somebody will just steal it and then I'll see it somewhere else. But just by including us, you will see a change in your economy. All right. Let's see. Aya Solution says, great holistic comprehensive breakdown. Sister Sajdah, thank you so much. Aya Solutions also says, yes, that's what I always. So how about no taxes for a period of time with a 700 plus credit rating? Yeah, I have in my model, I don't have those two together. And see, the tax thing is probably only going to be taken advantage of by a certain percentage of us. Because with the number of jobs going down, likely the amount of revenue that's being brought in from lower income people and their taxes and the low income jobs that they work is very minimal. On a material level, this is really, really going to impact those in the 6-7 figure, even the 5-figure range, because now you have more discretionary income to circulate your dollar more. Here's the other piece of the model. We don't manufacture many things in our community. Our culture is a big asset. But if we have more money, for example, to buy flowers or more money to buy houses or more money to buy toilet paper, we got to buy it from somebody. And so us having more money, you've already trained us as spenders. Okay. We spend money. That's how we validate our existence. Then it's just going to create a circular flow of cash in the community. And there'll be some of us who will be smart enough to change our behaviors and open businesses and not be spenders. But you're going to have a healthy balance of us who are going to recirculate those funds outside of the community, and then you'll have a healthy balance of us that'll circulate it inside the community. But if you just do this and then loosen some of the terrorism that we have to be subjected to as business people, and what do I mean by that? As Black business owners, we're constantly under attack. It's always something. Well, if the law supported us more when we report these things, or if there were certain antitrust, anti-competitive laws that were enforced, because many times they're in place but enforced, and maybe there needs to be a DOJ task force that is designed just to help make sure that we aren't being blocked and discriminated against. Let me tell you something. That'll go a long way. That'll go a long way. That's I don't know. I digress. That's my my take on some of my take on reparations and the model. But I've been building this now for about 10 years. And I talk about it a little bit every once in a while. But so IS Solutions, I don't put the credit score with the taxes per se, because, well, that's going to force me to give up too much of my model. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. I just don't put the two together. Okay, family. So how many of you all have taken advantage of the new virtual gift shop that we have out there using the QR code? Take your camera right now, point it to the screen, or you can just go to sajdahhouse.com and peruse through the website, check us out, make sure you join the mailing list, and then go out there and buy something, purchase something to support. You can buy a coin, you can become a sponsor. There's lots of ways. If this information on this channel is of any value to you, hit the super chat button, give something towards that, or just go to Cash App, Sajdah Enterprises, if this has changed your life in any tiny way. Y'all tune in every week for free, which I ain't got no problem with. I'm just asking, let's distribute and circulate a little bit, because we pay for the platform. We're not asking for, I don't even really activate the membership or make members only content. I probably should, but my goal is to give away the game. And if you want services, then I charge you for services, but you gotta get the game first. Lesson today, moral of the story: do not let your prejudices, your ignorance, your dislike, your ego prevent you from receiving wisdom and knowledge. Because a lot of times, you know, that God that you believe in so much, that God is sending you an angel in human form to give you data and give you information that you need to avoid the pitfall that you're about to go into. Sometimes he's able to cushion your fall a little bit, but sometimes he doesn't. So don't let your ego block you and prevent you from reasoning, so that you block your ability to accept wisdom and understanding. And the wisdom and understanding has nothing to do with the messenger. See, we're taught in Islam to recognize truth no matter where it comes from. No matter where it comes from. Recognize truth. So pay attention to when you find yourself rejecting something, why is it? I was listening to something the other day, and the guy was talking about some really powerful information, but I couldn't stand his voice and I couldn't stand how he looked. And I had to make a conscious decision to go, I'm not going to get this wisdom and understanding, because somehow something is irritating me with the way this man looks and sounds. So, but that's not right. I'm saying that to tell you that that's not right. And in many of your cases, God is answering your prayers so quickly, but you're rejecting it because you want it to look a certain way. It's the white man's ice is colder type of thing, right? Or some people are just like that with certain groups of people. Your mother may tell you something and you may reject it for whatever reason, but your friends in the streets may tell you, and then you go, oh, okay, I get it. Your child may be 9 years old and they may tell you something, and then your ego says, no, I ain't finna listen to my child. But somebody on the news said it and you believe it. Little simple things like that. Your ego can block your ability to access wisdom and understanding. And many, many times when God sends you information, he's responding to a prayer, either a prayer you had consciously or a prayer you had consciously, where you needed some information, you needed some data because you're dealing with something, or you're about to make a mistake, or you're about to be sick, or you're about to hurt yourself. And so God said, because your subconscious is always saying, what's the solution? And God said, here's the solution. Here you go. And if that solution is right, then that's the will, that's the law. And when you deviate from that, you're setting yourself up for destruction. That's the moral of the story today, you all. All right. May Allah bless each and every one of you. Again, you can support Cash App, Sajdah Enterprises, going across the bottom of the screen. Zelle is wendy100m@gmail.com. You can go to support.sajdahhouse.com. If you need to book a session with me, book Sajdah Wendy Muhammad. Go to booksajdahwendymuhammad.com and you can set up your session. If you want me to tailor something to you specifically, email me and I will put something together for you. You can, even if you go to booksajdahwendymuhammad.com, you can ask a question. You can give me a little summary of what it is that you want to do, and I can put together a package for you on what we charge. It's that time of the year, y'all. And it's December. It's time to get ourselves ready so that we come out the door, out the gate, January 1st, 2025, kicking, you know what, and taking names. All right, family. Love you all very much. Oh, next week, I'm going to set that up later today. We're going to be doing a 5-part series on business warfare. So make sure you like and subscribe and hit the notification button. Follow me on Facebook and on Instagram, Sajdah Wendy Muhammad, so that you get a notice whenever we get ready to have those shows. It's going to be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday morning. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah, so we're going to start Tuesday. So 5-day, 5-part series on business warfare. Okay, family. I will see you all, inshallah, then on Tuesday morning. Something comes up, I'll be sure to go live. Do something nice for somebody today. Do something good. Love on somebody today. Interact with some love. Get your head out the clouds. Get your head out of the ground. Get your eyes off the TV and interact with a human and get some love and generate, some movement, some energy in your body. Get those dopamine cells going in your brain. That's going to really help you. All right. Love you all. Peace and blessings, family.
Number one, we want freedom. We want a full and complete freedom. Number two, we want justice, equal justice under the law of justice. We want justice applied equally to all, regardless of creed or class or color. Third, we want equality of opportunity. We want equal membership in a good society, a society of righteous, a society of civilized people who believe in peace, who believes in righteous peace and kindness.